Welcome to Mac Stories Unwind. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Vitici. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
Good, good. We're heading into the weekend. We've got, it's been a week is what I'm going to say. It's been a week for me. I've had a very unusual week, and I thought we would chat a little bit about that before we get into any picks. What do you say?
Yeah, I got an update for you.
Oh,
This is Classic Unplugged
okay.
segment. So, for the past few months, whenever Sylvia came into the office, she would give me a disapproving look. It started where she would come in and she would look at my desk and she would just shake her head without saying anything.
Wow.
And I'd be like, oh, damn, something's not okay here. And then she basically told me, like she's been telling me for the past couple of months, actually, like the cable management that you've done, especially under the desk, it's
Yeah.
horrible. It's a nightmare. She described it with many adjectives that I cannot repeat on the show. But the gist of it was that she couldn't stand the sight of the power strip that I had hidden under the desk and all the cables that were running underneath and were taped to the bottom of the desk, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, you got to redo it. And I would postpone it, right? I would say, yeah, I'll do it eventually. And I was busy with the review. And now that I was done with the review, she came in the other day and she was like, okay, you're done with the review. We are going to redo your cable management. But this time she told me, because you're so clumsy and you're so like, you're the opposite of a precise person when it comes to organizing and tidying up. You're going to tell me exactly what each piece of equipment does. You're going to explain it to me. And I'm going to do the cable management for you. And it's going to look nice. But
She took pity on you is what she did.
Yes. Bless her. But you will never be able to touch it again. Like, don't try and come up with wanting to swap something again in the next year. That's what she said.
Therein lies the biggest problem and why mine is always a bit of a mess, because I have gotten my cable management under control. But the problem is I'm always changing things up, and that gets everything all torn up again.
She was like, think about it carefully. If there's anything you need to say it to me now of things that you think you may want to purchase within the next few months, and we'll keep it in mind. But otherwise, we're going to redo it now, and that's going to be it. And so I explained, okay, I obviously think she was right. It wasn't looking good. And now that I have the finished product, it's looking incredible. It's so minimal.
Oh, that's good.
I love it so much. But she basically took 2 days of her time, which I am so incredibly grateful for, because she's so much better than me at this sort of stuff. We redid my entire desk. Like, we unplugged everything, like literally every single cable, and we redid it. She redid it. I just was just sort of there, hovering and explaining things.
Yeah.
Actually being asked to what things we're doing. And she did it all, and she's done an incredible job. So what I did was I decided that I wanted to go back to the CalDigit dock, the Thunderbolt dock. Because I know that I explained I mostly use my iPad, but there's a chance that I may buy a new Mac Mini if they make one that is as small as an Apple TV. So the goal right now was to have as much space on the desk as possible. We removed a bunch of accessories that were laying here. So right now, when you look at my desk, you just see the monitor, obviously, hanging on the wall, my Aqara office camera, my USB audio interface, the MixPre 3.2, and a mic arm. I now have a microphone arm with a desk clamp. And we spent a lot of time researching options on Amazon to find a microphone arm that was white instead of dark gray or black, because we really liked how the white color blends with the color of the desk. I think they make a really nice combo. And so I have a mic arm, and all you see is a single cable coming in from under the desk. That is my Thunderbolt cable that goes to the CalDigit. And that cable, I can choose to connect to either my iPad Pro or my half of a MacBook Air, which is what I'm doing now, for example. So that single cable is all you see on the desk. A Thunderbolt cable comes in from the bottom, and I plug into my iPad or I plug into my MacPad. That's all you see. She redid all of the cable management for all the things that are going into the monitor. So we got one of those cable wrapping things that like it allows you to tie a bunch of cables together and wrap them in this white cover. So there's two HDMI cables, power cable, and the Thunderbolt cable going into my Gigabyte M27U monitor, but you only see the white wrapping cover instead of like 4 different cables. Under the desk, I have this drawer where I put my PS5 Slim horizontally, and beneath that, my Nintendo Switch dock. So I can choose to play with my Nintendo Switch or my PS5 with my monitor, both going directly with HDMI to the monitor.
It's a pretty big drawer if you can fit a PS5 in there. I guess.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's like a cube. It's a cube shaped. So it's a I don't know 40 by 40 centimeters. I want to say something like that. Mm-hmm. Inside the drawer is where the magic happens. So there's a hole in the actual piece of furniture for ventilation.
Yeah.
And inside there's my Asus router, my Ethernet switch, my Cal Digit, and basically a power strip with basically USB adapters for the Akara camera and for what else is powered? I guess the Ethernet switch is also powered. So yeah, everything is in there. You don't see the power strip outside anymore. You don't see the Cal Digit anymore. And most of all, you don't see anything under the desk. It's completely empty.
Wow.
She did an incredible job. I honestly cannot believe that my desk is looking so minimal. And something else that I've started doing, I guess, is I was so fed up with the lack of Apple accessories that can connect to multiple computers at once, as well as the lack of clamshell mode on the iPad, that what I started doing is I basically, when I work now with my external monitor, I look like an Apple promotional photo in that I am using the iPad Pro in front of me, but I'm also using the external display. So I'm using both displays, both the iPad Pro and the big display, the big external monitor. So I can choose to have something on the iPad and something on the monitor, but this way I can keep using the iPad, I can keep using the Magic Keyboard and the trackpad of my iPad Pro, and I don't have to leave a standalone Magic Keyboard and standalone Magic Trackpad always on my desk.
Sure.
And obviously when I'm using the MacPad, well, the MacPad is a keyboard and trackpad. So the goal being, when I'm not working, this desk is empty. All you see is just the camera and the mix pre. And the microphone arm, sure.
Well, I really hope that Sylvia never sees my setup. I really do.
She will give you a lot of bad Italian expressions and words.
I know. Well, I mean, okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, Federico.
Yeah.
This week I did something a little different. I spent an entire day at the DMV.
Oh, that is awful.
Yeah. So literally from door to door, it was 8 hours in total, which is a long day because Finn is home from Ireland and his old Illinois driver's license was about to expire. And we kind of figured, it's just convenient to have a U.S. driver's license when you're in the U.S., whether you're being carted at a restaurant for a drink or whatever it happens to be, or driving for that matter. And he doesn't have an Irish driver's license that he could use here. So we thought, while he's home for 3 weeks, we ought to go to the DMV. And the problem with North Carolina DMVs are bad pretty much everywhere, of course. But in North Carolina, the state is growing so fast that all of the DMV offices are constantly overwhelmed. So for me to get him an appointment would have required at least a 90 days of lead time, which we just didn't have. And even if you get an appointment, I did that when I moved down here, I still was there for 5 or 6 hours that day. it just gets you in the door right first thing in the morning.
Mm.
So we did a walk-in, and we went there at 8:30 in the morning. He didn't get into the building until a little bit after noon, and we left by 3:30. But you have to have an appointment in order to become a first-time license holder in the state. You can't do it online or anything like that. And so yeah, I spent my day in my car working and hanging out with him, and he spent half of his day inside the DMV office. We didn't even do it like locally to Charlotte. We went out into the country to a smaller town because we figured it would be faster, and I think it was, but it still was kind of an ordeal. But that's the DMV. It was quite a thing.
Yeah. Well, I am not jealous, John.
No, it's not a great thing. So I think I'm the only one with a pick this week.
Yes, I think you are, because I spent the past few nights, instead of playing Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, which I will probably resume tonight, I spend them tweaking my home screens, because I'm doing a series for Club Mac Stories about all my home screens and all my control center setups, starting with the iPad home screen that I'm doing in this week's newsletter. But that is being, quote unquote, my downtime this week, redoing my home screen and thinking about apps, as I do, to be fair, during the day as well. But now I've also done it at night. So
my experiments have been with tail scale, which I'm going to be writing about for Club Mac Stories Plus and Premier members very soon. I actually have a draft ready to go. I just need to polish it up and get it out the door. But I did have a little time over the past couple of weeks to watch a show, and I started watching The Penguin on Max.
Nice.
And so this is Penguin, the villain in the Batman series of comics.
It is not, in fact, a documentary about penguins.
No, it is not. It is not.
It's not Happy Feet. Have you ever seen Happy Feet?
I have never seen Happy Feet. I think, as I have probably mentioned on this show before, I have seen penguins in person.
You have seen penguins. I'm very jealous of that. You have seen penguins.
Yeah. In real life, I went.
And you said that they are
Chile.
smelly. You said that they are smelly.
They're such smelly animals. It's very bad. There's so many of them. There's so many of them.
We don't need to talk about the smell of penguins again. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Penguin on Max.
The Penguin is a TV show starring Colin Farrell, and Colin Farrell plays the Penguin. And one of the things that is wild about this show is that he doesn't look anything like Colin Farrell, because he's got an incredible amount of makeup on to make him very heavy and kind of disfigured looking, and just looking like you would expect the Penguin to look like, I guess, like a mobster. And it just doesn't look like Colin Farrell.
Wow, this is Colin Farrell? Oh my God.
Can you believe that? Because I knew that watching the show, and I looked at him. I'm like, I don't see Colin Farrell in that person.
It's not this. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm looking
You can hear it in his voice, of course.
Okay.
But you have to really study the person to realize that that's Colin Farrell. I don't think if you didn't know that, you would ever guess in a million years that it's Colin Farrell.
That's impressive. Okay.
Yeah. And I guess that makeup takes a very long time to put on, as you can probably imagine. But he is, in this movie, this is kind of an origin story in that he is an underling of a mob boss in Gotham City.
Okay. So I see this name. I want to try and guess how they pronounce it on the show, because it's an Italian name.
Yes.
My guess is that in America, they pronounce his name as Carmine Falcone.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Actually, this Italian name would be Carmine Falcone.
Yes, that makes sense. But it's
Carmine
Falcone in the lingo of the TV show. And he was the kingpin of Gotham City, who has died. And this all happens shortly after, I think, Falcone masterminds the seawall coming down around Gotham City. And there's destruction and violence in the streets and all kinds of upheaval. And the Penguin, whose name is Oswald Cobb, he had a different name in the comic books, but Oswald Cobb, he is kind of trying to fill the void of Falcone after he's died. So he wants to become the new kingpin of crime in Gotham City and the leader of, like the drug trade and stuff like that. And so this although this is related to the Batman, it's not really a superhero show at all, at least in the first couple of episodes. This is only 2 episodes in, and it's more like a gritty mob crime drama show than anything else. The Penguin befriends this young kid who he almost killed because he was stealing from him, trying to steal his hubcaps or something early in the first episode. And the kid, there's a relationship that grows between him and the kid, and the kid's helping him out. Then you see the Penguin's mother, who he's trying to please. And then another main character is Falcone's daughter, Sophia, who is a serial killer who had been released from Arkham Asylum. And so these are kind of all the main characters that are mixing it up and vying for power in Gotham City. And so far, I really love it. I mean, I like that dark, gritty feel that you get of some of the more modern Batman movies, and this has that. And it's also not really so much a crime fighting thing as it is a mob show about the criminals themselves. And that's kind of an interesting angle. So, yeah, I've been enjoying this one a lot.
Nice. All right.
All right, Federico, you know what? Here's a behind the scenes thing for people. In 9 minutes, Oasis tickets are going on
Oh
sale.
my God. Hurry up and do the conclusion of the episode. Get ready.
And so I'm going to try to get tickets to them. They're playing in August next year in Chicago. So I'm going to try to get a couple of tickets. So I'm going to sign us off now and go try my luck. I did get into the pre-sale. So hopefully that helps me get some tickets. But that's it for this week's episode of Mac Stories Unwind. You can find the two of us over at macstories.net. Federico and I are also on Mastodon. Just go to vitici.macstories.net and johnvorhees.macstories.net. And you can follow us on Threads and Instagram. Federico is at Vitici. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees. JOHNVOORHEES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.